The wind clawed at my window all night long. It wandered the fields and howled like a hungry beast. An endless song weaved from all sorts of voices, shrill, gentle, snary, twined in the air. They were shouting and laughing, and arguing about something. Someone was running through the snow while casting long shadows that would occasionally creep close to my bed. Our house had a mind of its own, the creaky old mind of a building that had seen a lot in its days and was seemingly trying to share its wisdom with the inhabitants. The lonely house faced the forest, and the dark green thicket gazed back with its hollow eyes, rustling, whizzing, swaying back and forth. One could come out and stand at the edge of the forest to reassure themselves there was nobody behind the crooked trees. Fussy silhouettes swaying in the wind couldn't possibly do any harm. It's just a play of light and shadow, lux tenebrae. Just a play. I knew it was just my imagination. I was already 12, after all. Still, I see the raccoon or forest in the background there. Episode 1, The Owl Will Arrive.
Убери книгу немедленно.
Hey, put away your book.
Сколько раз говорила, не читай за столом, вредно. Сидишь, сутулился весь.
How many times have I told you not to read at the table? It's bad for your health. Look at how slouched you are. Hide. Hide the book. I didn't protest and put the book about Conan the Barbarian aside. I was stuck on a line I couldn't understand after reading it 3 times anyway. Yeah, books can sometimes have sophisticated language. Olia had already finished her breakfast and was munching on some cookies. She was so enthusiastic, she almost looked like your typical girl from commercials.
Пока не съешь, из-за стола не встанешь.
You're not going anywhere until you finish all of it. I, on the other hand, was still trying to drill a hole in the plate with my eyes, as if it would make the porridge disappear. Hazy anxiousness welled up inside, all because of the previous sleepless night, the black forest around our house, and the gloomy wind. The longer I waited, the colder the lumpy white substance became. It looked like a jellyfish from the Costa Odyssey. I love that show. I wonder how horrifying the bottom of the ocean is, drifting off into thought. Or how cold the black forest is at night. The spoon fell out of my hand. Mom showered me with a cold glare from her green eyes, which I can't tell because it's wonderfully monochromic right now to set the mood of the airiness. It is a horror game after all, which I don't know much about. Actually, I don't know anything about it, I just started it up. But indeed, from her apparent green eyes.
Что я говорила?
What did I just say?
Я достану.
I'll get it. I had 10 seconds to catch my breath before battling the nasty porridge once again. Battling. I felt around for the spoon. What is this carved on the other side of the table? Karina. Ha! That's my mom's name. That's one way to introduce her name. I guess she carved it out with something pointy when she was little. She sure was a rascal, damaging the furniture like that. She would scold me for a week if I did something similar, though. Should I remind her about it? No, she's been in a bit of a bad mood lately. I imagine her being my age, sitting at this table. I wonder, was Mom afraid of the dark back then? Or the sounds coming from the attic? Oh god. When I was little, I had so many nightmares about either the basement or the attic. It would take turns. I don't know what was worse. I think the attic was worse. Or perhaps the thick forest. I imagined my grandma coming into my little mom's room, sitting at the edge of her bed, where Olia sleeps nowadays, and saying this in her soft, smooth voice.
Тайга особое место, дитятка.
Taiga is a special place, little girl.
Она к тебе присматривается, принюхивается.
It's watching you closely, sniffing you out. Also, I want to see, there is no English voice for this, is there? It doesn't say. So, bear in mind that I will narrate this all then. We'll get the Russian experience and then I'll narrate it while reading the text. It's watching you closely. It's sniffing you out.
Словно хочет понять, что ты за зверь такой.
Trying to discern what kind of beast you are. I mean, I do find it to be like a fascinating language in its own right.
Понравишься, в беде не бросит.
If you're a good sort, it won't abandon you in times of trouble.
А будешь проказничать, схватит за бочок и утащит с собой под землю.
But if you're a bad apple, it'll grab you by the side and drag you under the ground.
Тут и дело с концом.
And that would be it. Grandma was caring. She never fought with anybody, never yelled, never swore. Those were the times without the maddening screams until late at night, without smashed dishes and mutual accusations. Our parents used to love each other back then. I remember listening in on one of their conversations by chance. They were talking about Grandma getting prepared for her funeral. She had already bought a casket. She's thinking quite ahead of time, this one. And she called it her cute funeral box. Well, I suppose gotta stay optimistic. Gotta stay happy. It waited for its time in the closet, patiently. In the closet? Oh, you have a big closet. It was black, upholstered with meat-colored material on the inside, and soft, I imagine. I saw it when my grandma was getting buried. The house didn't change since the time she was alive. Only all of the photos were gone. The photos? Of Grandma? In which case, why did I take them away? Glass-covered pictures with grey faces of my ancestors. They all had a dead but watchful look in their eyes. I crawled out from under the table. Jesus, time stands still when you're in imagination land. Alia was done with her cookies and was looking at my share like a sly woodland critter. Can I have some? I turned my gaze towards the frosted window. There were a lot of dark pines outside, but it didn't grab my attention. Well, it looks like they grabbed your... my English is failing me. They seem to be looking at you quite intently, all pushed up to the house. The pattern of frost formed a picture on the glass.
Оля, гляди, лиса!
Oh yeah, look, it's a fox. It's a Lisa. Oh, that's a cute silhouette of a fox. Oh, cute emoji.
Где?
That is... That's more than a convenience how the frost managed to do that. Or it's just the imagination at play. Where? It looked almost like those optical illusion thingies they put on the back of student notebooks. Yeah, or it's just your imagination. You have a very vivid imagination. A mixture of lines at first glance, but if you blur your vision a little bit and look under a certain angle...
Да не на улице, на стекле.
Not outside, on the window.
Смотри, вот нос, вот.
Look, here's the nose, and here's...
Ну-ка, доедай.
Hey, eat up.
Да, сейчас.
Yeah, just a moment.
Я ничего не вижу.
I don't see anything.
Живо! Совсем немного осталось.
Hurry up, there's not much left.
Вот.
Oh, there it is.
Но все равно не похоже.
But it still doesn't look like one. Well, at least you see what we're looking at. What do you see then, Olia?
А я говорю, похоже.
I'm telling you it does.
Не-а.
Nuh-uh.
Похоже.
It does.
Прекратите!
Stop
ну что
it.
за дети?
These kids, I swear. Now I couldn't see the fox either. Aw. Imagination, or perhaps the magical forest is granting us a vision. But it seems to have disappeared. It went away. Only the frosty patterns, similar to stretched out nettle leaves, kept creeping up the glass. Creeping up? Ugh. Oh, my dad entered the kitchen with long, measured steps. I want to have a beard like this when I grow up. Mom would always ask jokingly, "Come on, shave it off, it stings." This was so long ago. Nowadays, rumbling doors and witty comebacks were an everyday occurrence. Olia always covers her ears whenever she hears something like, "What's the point in all this?" through the wall. Munch, munch, munch. "It's all for your sake," Dad would reply. "For the sake of our family." I always caught every sound in fear of hearing the most dreaded, the deadliest word that started with a D. Devo. I don't even want to finish it. Devo? It was scary to imagine that me and my little sister could be torn apart and taken into two different families. Oh, divorce. It's just D.I.V. I thought it was like an abbreviation of something. Yeah.
Да что твоя лиса? Вот у меня на окне сова.
Anyway, your fox is nothing. I have an owl on my window.
Опять ты со своей совой.
You and your owl talk again. Maybe our character is fixated on foxes, and the sister is fixated on owls. That's why we keep seeing them. I side with the fox one.
Так ты же вчера мне верил.
You said you believed me just yesterday.
Никто ключи от машины не видел?
Anybody seen my car keys?
Вроде оставлял на подоконнике.
I remember leaving them on the windowsill.
Вроде.
Right.
Вроде оставлял, вроде нет.
Maybe you did, and maybe not.
Вроде взрослый мужчина, отец двоих детей, а вроде...
You're a grown man, a father of two, and still you're such a child, she probably wanted to say. Yeah, hopefully it won't escalate into a divorce, but yeah, they do have their arguments.
Перестань, пожалуйста, Карина.
Karina, please stop.
Дай мне спокойно собраться.
Just let me get ready in peace.
В корзине твои ключи, возле телефона.
Your keys are in the basket, near the phone.
Огромное тебе человеческое спасибо.
Well, thank you very much. And I just read how someone wrote recently that there's so many men who have like this weird blindness syndrome where you can look for your keys or something like this everywhere, you can't see it, and their wives are like, "It's right in front of you, how are you not seeing it?" Like, I know I'm guilty of this as well. I can't explain it. But anyway, Karina, thank you very much.
Антон, ешь быстрее, а то как мученик сидишь.
Anton, stop making a martyr out of yourself and finish eating already.
А сова?
But the owl!
Не было там никакой совы.
There was no owl.
Была.
There was one, and there was also a fox.
Глазюки огромные. Во, и светятся.
It had giant glowing eyes. Oria sprang up from the chair and placed her hands on her little face, imitating a pair of eyes with her fingers, the size of an apple each.
В прошлом году бабай в шкафу. Сейчас сова?
Last year you had Babai in your closet, and now this owl. Babai.
Но я же видела.
But I saw it. Oria shifted her gaze back and forth from Dad to Mom to me, but couldn't find any support. I should have said fox. I would have hopped in on the discussion right away.
А ты не думала подружиться с ней, нет?
Have you thought about befriending it? Well, that was a change. Suddenly. So maybe that is like, okay, let's not try to intimidate her completely. Let's try to get a little bit on her side. It's okay.
Вымышленными мышами покормить, например.
Oh, okay, never mind. I didn't know he would mock her at this point. You know, like feeding it with imaginary mice.
Не подначивай ребенка.
Don't bully our girl.
Просто мала еще. И спать одна боится.
She's just afraid to sleep alone because she's still little. Yeah, and we were 12, weren't we? Olia pouted her lips in rebellion and rushed into the hallway. The staircase that led to the second floor creaked. Seems like an old house, and I suppose it has to be if it's in the middle of nowhere, out in the woods, airy woods. Mom gave Dad a strict look. Oh, that look in her eyes. It's so uncomfortable to be pinned under it. That's like Toriel death stare right here. Toriel from Undertale. Dad just snorted in reply and left, ringing with the keys he just found. Oh, yeah, I remember that music. A little minute had passed, and the theme song from The Little Mermaid echoed through the house. It was stored on incredibly worn-out cassette tape, which Dad already had to glue together once. I liked watching a lot of Disney classics on VHS when I was younger, but I never had The Little Mermaid. It's so easy to fix objects by gluing them back together, for example. I also know it's both a TV series and a movie. I watched the TV series, but I didn't have the movie. How do you fix a relationship? Well, I'm sure that your imagination can come up with something. He has a lovely imagination, this one. Mom moved to the living room, and I was left alone, anxiously stealing glances at the window to see if the fox, the Lisa, would reappear. Alia had trouble sleeping ever since we moved to this house. Which makes me wonder, when did we move to this house? Oh, that ambiance, oh, the wind. The wind can sound like a lot of things at night when your instincts are kicking in because you're trying to sleep. Oh, that sounds bad, though. That sounds really bad. You should be comfortable in your own house. And you always had trouble sleeping here. Makes me wonder, why did they move here? Did Dad have a job here? Did Mother have a job here? It sounds like Dad was the one driving off to work. And it seems like a traditional family. She would toss and turn or curl up into a ball under her blanket. Ah, poor thing. Sometimes she would jump up in the middle of the night and turn on the VCR. Cartoons helped to take her mind off all the troubles we had with the move and our parents. And Disney also did a good job, at least with the classics, they did a good job to sort of calm you down. Family-friendly movie. But it really tried to like appeal to, I don't know, it had like this adventurous feel to it, to sort of chase away the horror if you had a bad day, or bad night for that matter. So I can tell it. Oh my god! And then Olia said she saw that giant flying monster outside her window. Oh, I see the owl now. Now I see the owl. And seems like, I suppose, not fascinated by owl, but scared by owl, which makes me wonder, why were they so happy at the dinner table? I guess it's not scary until nightfall, huh? She became obsessed with it. Like morbid curiosity, like horror games and the horror genre in general. Like, it's scary, but I have a curiosity. That's how I got into horror. Our parents did everything in their power. They tried every little trick to get rid of those ridiculous fears. There's a little trick called moving somewhere that's not in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of creepy forests. It was noted that this happened after we moved here. So, you poor thing. Olia refused to sleep alone and did believe that the owl was just one of her nightmares. After last night, I was unsure what to make of my sister's words, what to think of it myself. Can nightmares be infectious? Well, that's one way to imagine it. But yeah, I suppose there's a common cause there, isn't there? It is an immersive place and a scary place. That night I couldn't get a wink of sleep and ended up thinking of what to expect from my new school. Okay, so I suppose you've been here a couple of nights. Nothing much. Also, that creaking. There were a couple of days left before the beginning of a new term. My imagination drew long, twisting hallways that led to a classroom full of kids. It almost sounds like one of the Little Nightmares. Like in the start of the Little Nightmare, you get this obscure vision before the character wakes up from their little nightmare. But all the students behind their desks were simply dark figures, cut out using a template. Ugh. Oh god. Oh god. Circular holes gaped in the middle of their faces, and pairs of eyes blinked inside those holes. It was as if some completely different creatures were looking at me from behind the flat black silhouettes. It's like a skinwalker. Their cruel glares, filled with icy snares, made me shiver from head to toe when I was among the pairs. Will I survive here? Won't they gang up on me and beat me down, stomp on me with their bloodied shoes? That is so eerie, Jesus. The damn school can burn for all I care. I just wished for anything to happen to it. Doesn't really matter what. I didn't want to go there that badly. I didn't want to see people who are just itching to smack me on the head, trip me up, think of a new offensive name for me, worse than the previous one. I felt like the glasses I wore made me an outsider or some sort of a monster. Well, it is very cliche to bully the one with the glasses, isn't it? My gaze slid across the drawings hanging on the walls. I couldn't consider myself a great artist, but Olia begged me to hang them. Oh, drawing was the only thing that made me happy as of late, and it's a great way to express yourself. In the same way that I narrate my first time impressions of horror games and otherwise atmospheric games, it's also a way for me to express myself. It's important to have a way to express oneself. I also wanted to comment a little bit on this, but I think there's like dialogue first, and then I get to have a closer look here, because right now it's sort of faded into the distance. But yeah, keep drawing. It's one thing to keep your mind off things. The small circle of friends I had also enjoyed my paintings, and they promised to call me from time to time. That reminds me of a friend of mine in real life recently actually gifted me one of their paintings, which conveniently is a painting of a fox, a Lisa. I have it in my entryway, displaying it proudly. I wish I could draw, or paint, or anything. Maybe I'll pick it up at one point, if I'm lucky. Sometimes I imagine Mom picking up the phone and saying in a cold voice, "You got the wrong number." Or, "Anton is not around." Anton is not around. I imagined my future classmates lying in their beds, just like me, listening to the howls of invisible werewolves outside their windows. I really wonder where we are. Maybe it's more common in this region to live like this, but it doesn't sound like it. It sounds like we had a big change, with the forest being one of the biggest changes we've had. Maybe my new classmates will like me after all. But who would ever like a boy with thick glasses? Oh, come on now. Maybe they're all boys with thick glasses. Maybe it's a competition to who has the nerdiest glasses. They'll become the new cool kid. But try to stay optimistic. I mean, my dad used to wear glasses when he was little, and now he's married to the most beautiful woman on the planet, my mom. Karina was it? I'm very bad with names. I am one of the few people, maybe I am the only one that I know in real life who never used glasses. At least who lives locally by me. The house creaked, pressed by the wind. I mean, I do wear glasses, but only glasses to protect against the extra light from the screen because I'm playing horror games in a pitch dark room. And I have these gaming glasses to sort of help my eyes relax. And I do notice a big difference after using them for a week or two. Now I can't use them. I can't use the computer much without them because my eyes strain a bit. But I digress, as I often do. The condo we used to live in, a 9-floor concrete building, buzzed with a neighbor's drill, mumbled with a TV set from behind the wall, cried like a baby from the big family next door. I somehow imagined that, oh, we used to live in, okay, yeah. My mind is not minding right now. Yeah, I imagine this was like a tiny, tiny house, 1 or 2 floor cottage in the middle of nowhere. Yeah, there's a 9-floor concrete building. Now we're in like a wooden, old house. Inherited from our grandmother, I presume. Buzzed with the neighbor's drill, mumbled with a TV set from behind a wall, cried like a baby from the big family next door. What was this? Glossary. Oh. Wait, glossary? What's this? Oh, bye-bye. That's one of the things that our sister apparently advertised seeing recently. Bye-bye, in Slavic folklore, a nocturnal spirit used by parents to threaten their ill-behaving children. Well, don't accuse her of seeing it if you're using this as a threat and basically planting this like a seed. Like, that backfired, didn't it? Like, too much. We're only supposed to threaten you with it. You're not supposed to see it. Well, I need to, whenever I get like new vocabulary I don't know, I'll visit that again, the glossary section. Feels a little bit like Year Walk right now, doesn't it? For the dictionary and all. And the Wikipedia that it had. Right. Our current house, though I can't really call it new, was completely different. It was silent and easygoing during the day. Its shadows lay dormant in the corners, on the closet cobwebs, and under the stairs. But they all woke up during the night. I suppose it's when you know you have a lot of people living around you, it's not as creepy. But also, you know, wooden cottages and concrete apartments. Completely different feel. Something was watching me from every corner, almost as if the old photos of my deceased family with their ashen eyes were hanging on the walls in place of my drawings. The floor was squeaking, rusty drains were moaning, the attic was occupied by noisy drafts. One could think the house was performing some sort of demonic melody. And then I realized I was in fact hearing music. It was already playing for a good while. Maybe you're just drifting off into sleep. Somewhere at the edge of my perception, I could hear a flute. It was mixed in with the sound of the wind, of the creaking old house, and my thoughts too. Sounds like adventurous music, like, come, let's go on an adventure. I stood up and rushed to the window. I wanted to reassure myself that this music was nothing more than a product of my imagination. It's not like someone is playing it there, amidst the cold snowy night, right? It's going faster. Also, before we go to the window. It's a very adorable cat. You're a great artist. You're already a great artist, and you're just 12. A very old-fashioned bed, at least from what I'm used to, but it looks soft and comfy enough. Desk with a reading lamp, comics or so. And, well, I suppose it has everything you need. Little cute bookshelf. Alright, let's open. Oh, dancing creatures and something that looks like fairies. Playing a violin or so. Someone was dancing in the field. Looks like a bear. And wolves. And a bird bouncing high up. And something that looks like a fairy or, I don't know, maybe a demon for all I know. Maybe it's Näcken from the Swedish horror game Unforgiven, I think it was called. Black silhouettes I could barely make out, with the dark forest as their backdrop. Well, they do seem to be animalistic in nature. But animals don't normally behave like that, so imagination ahoy. It jumped around, basked in moonlight, bumped into piles of snow, rolled around and crawled on all fours. It looks like most of them are actually standing up. But yeah. Stories about wolves playing under the moon came to mind, but these were clearly not wolves. They stood upright at times, circled around, holding hands and whipping up snow, disappearing into the shadows for a brief moment, and then coming back. Well, they do seem to be having fun. And there is music. Something bizarre was going on. Shadows dancing in starless abyss made my imagination go wild, making me anxious at the same time. Oh Jesus, okay. Suddenly the music had stopped. And it has this startling piano sound effect, as if this is indeed a nightmare. Because, you know, sometimes if you slip into a dream or a nightmare, you might not know it. It could be very seamless. I remember vividly a dream where I woke up from a nightmare. And I woke up in my bed and like, okay, thank God it was just a nightmare. And after what felt like half a minute to a minute, someone came in from my nightmare to kill me. And then I woke up again. For real this time. So who knows? It did give this sort of like spook that at least I often have in nightmares, when suddenly they all notice someone's watching them. The dancing shadows froze in place, and, I could swear, pierced me with their eyes. We've been spotted, boys. They know we're not just animals. One of these silhouettes immediately parted from the bizarre shadow carnival and sprinted across the field with giant leaps. Yep, back to full animal mode. They saw nothing. Oh God, Jesus! Okay, I imagined they were running the other way. It glided on squeaky snow without leaving any prints until it was devoured by the pitch-black shadow of my house, which became even darker and thicker. My heart was jumping around like the bird inside a cage. Oh, I had a completely wrong idea. It's not running away, it's coming for me. I'll be very surprised if this isn't a nightmare. It plays out exactly like one. I shut the curtains with a swift motion and stepped back toward the bed. They saw me. A freezing torrent of fear washed over me. Also, I apologize for some whimpers or screams here and there. I put my volume way high. I never learn. I stood in the middle of a perfectly dark room and listened to some unwanted guests move and scrape around, looking for an entrance. The sound moved to the right. then circled around the house. Now my guest should be at the front door. It actually reminds me of a VR horror game I played many years ago called The Guest, where you keep hearing noises outside the house. And then you finally hear them enter through the main door, making their way slowly up to the second floor. That would be first floor for Brits and Germans. Let's see. I jumped into the bed and covered myself with a blanket as if it could protect me. Well, it does feel a bit more protective. When I slept in the dark room when I was ill, I had such a fear of the darkness. I would like having the light on in the room, and even though the corners were all airy and shadowy, when I had my cover over me, everything sort of lit up. It was sort of like a light bulb in a weird way. But I digress once more. The shackles of fear locked my muscles. Oh, I remember the funeral. My grandma lying there, hands crossed on her chest, her facial features sharp like that of a tin doll. She knows something. If this is not a nightmare, then definitely she knows something. I just feel that she used to live here alone, and we moved to her during maybe her final days. Maybe that's why we moved here. But yeah, it just feels like she knows something. She was so calm and all, but at the same time so airy in a lot of ways, is what I gathered. Ants running up and down the legs of chairs that held my grandma's casket. Ooh! I imagined those little creatures climbing up her head and pulling up her eyelids with their tiny legs. Yeah, that's the issue. Your imagination is running away from your will. It's taking control over you. And then her wrinkly eyeballs would once again move inside their sockets, and she'd be able to see her grandchildren. I was chanting the spell she taught me throughout the whole procedure. And now, lying under the blanket and listening to squeaks and howls. Oh, it's darkening. I was repeating the same words.
На острове Буяне, в синем океане, стоит домовина, в ней сало и глина, волосы седые, чертям еда, раба Божьего Антона не тронут никогда.
On the island of Buyan, underneath the blemished sun, in the sea of color blue, stands a cabin made of wood. So that's where we are, maybe? Is it just a chant, or is that actually where we are? It's probably where we are as well. They made a chant out of it. She knows something. On the island of Buyan, underneath the blemished sun, in the sea of color blue, stands a cabin made of wood. There lay lard and ashen hair, for the spawn from devil's lair, to feast and always leave alone. God's faithful servant named Anton.
Бесы забудут дорогу к дому.
Evil who leave this house must.
Мертвый к мертвому, живой к живому.
Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. Bizarre sounds had disappeared quite before the storm. Oh, I cautiously peeked out from under the blanket and saw curtains waving around like a hanged man. And then the night doused me with a new portion of boiling terror. The sound scratched at my eardrums. In reality, something or someone were scratching at the front door, hurriedly clawing at wood, demanding to be let in. Or the hard way, the long way, which would prolong the fear. But I ain't opening up anyway. The door was shut and it will remain shut. Dad had become very cautious recently, so he installed a sturdy lock. I remember him staring at the forest intently, as if he was looking for someone. I suppose it wouldn't be a big chance of someone stumbling in here, but... See ravens, I believe, flying in the background.
Мертвое к мертвому,
Ashes to ashes,
живое к живому.
dust to dust. The dead shall remain dead. I hugged my knees, placing my chin between them, and drilled the door with my eyes. It was so flimsy and weak before the might of darkness. And then... the doorknob twitched slightly. Imagine if it's just her sister who can't sleep coming to, like, I don't know, ask for company in the night. Because they did say that she couldn't fall asleep alone, so... Then it turned halfway. Once, twice, yeah, maybe, it could be, struggling to opening the door. Being a bit tall, maybe. As if the person who tried to enter had no hands. Oh, that does not help. If the creature outside... well, if they made it through the front door, they're probably going to make it through this door as well. The doorknob tilted once more, and then... Oh, God! Started clicking violently. My jaw cramped from fear. My wet fingers clutched the blanket. The door creaked and opened. Yeah, no, that's not animalistic. They would struggle to open the door, yes. Whatever that was... Well, okay, maybe. It just felt like if they have that much of a grasp on a handle, they would be able to open it. Or maybe just keep slapping it from above. I guess we'll find out soon. The wind taunted me, moaning inside the tin drains. Now you'll see. The door was wide open, or at least open enough so our imagination can fill the void. The darkness writhed inside the carnivore's mouth of a doorway. Sha. It was as if the night itself was calling out to me, flapping its black wings and squeaking with rusty hinges. I was trembling and snared by the web of darkness that hung in the corners of my room, waiting for the one who weaved it to come out of the gaping black hole. Tony. My abdomen tightened and my chest rose up, ready to exhale a desperate scream. But before I was able to do anything, the darkness asked me, Tosha, are you asleep? I knew it. But actually I didn't. I was a bit unsure. My first thought, maybe it is a sister, but yeah. Now it did sound like a sister. My sister's pale face protruded from the thick shadows. What were you doing with that handle? Are you trying to give me a heart attack? Or maybe she's just that petrified that she's just panicking herself. I mean, I can excuse that. I almost screamed from relief instead of terror.
Оля, я не сплю. Что случилось?
Olya, I'm not sleeping, and if I was, I sure as heck wouldn't now. Did something happen? Olya frowned and stuck out her lower lip, a clear sign that she was about to cry. Oh, come on in.
Оно опять прилетело и пялится на меня.
It's there again, staring at me. The owl?
Прогони ее, Тоша. Прогони, пожалуйста.
Please shoo her away, Tosha.
Я так боюсь.
I'm so scared. Well, that's okay. We are two now. The fear that was tormenting me just a minute ago crawled away and hid somewhere in my stomach. I needed to calm Olya down.
Это был сон, глупая. Не пугайся. Сны не кусаются. Никто тебя не обидит.
It was just a dream, silly. Don't be scared. Dreams don't bite. No one's going to harm you. Although dreams can be very, very convincing. Olya sobbed. She was trying her best to believe me. But was I sure myself?
У меня есть идея.
I have an idea.
Пойдем к тебе в комнату, видик посмотрим. Спящую красавицу, например.
Let's go to your room and watch the video. Sleeping Beauty, for example. That's another Disney classic that I haven't watched yet.
Тебе же нравится этот мультик?
You like that film, don't you?
Почему у спящей красавицы принца у меня эта страшная птица?
Why does the Sleeping Beauty have a prince and I have this scary bird? That question took me by surprise. I suppose there is no way to answer that. At least yet.
Ладно, давай посмотрим Золушку.
Alright, let's watch Cinderella. I also have not watched that one. My thoughts became tangled and fuzzy. What was that? What studied me with its eyes while dancing feverishly under the moon? Are you currently peeking out the window? The darkness was clinging to the window, and it couldn't be fooled by Grandma's old chants. It couldn't be satisfied with a feast of lard and long ashen hair.
Тоша, ты идешь?
Tosha, are you coming? Okay, so the second our sister leaves, our imagination drifts right away.
Да, да, сейчас.
Ah, yeah, just a moment. Oh God! Oh!